Assalamu alaikum everyone. This is Amar bin Salim. I represent the marketing team at the Office of Advancement at LUMS. Once again, it is a great privilege for me to be hosting the Knowledge Week webcast series for Sulaiman Dawood School of Business. This is now basically we have entered into the second leg of the Knowledge Week webcast series for SDSB. Last week we met you for five different programs through five different webcasts. So starting with accounting analytics, we then moved on to supply chain and retail management's webcast. Then we talked to you about the business and public policy, then healthcare management and innovation. And finally, on Friday, we talked about the technology management and entrepreneurship program offered at LUMS. Today, inshallah, we'll talk about the MBA program, which is also the oldest program at LUMS. And it gives me a great rush of pride when I say that our MBA is globally considered amongst the top 250 worldwide and also top 34 in Asia, and is a highly recognized program across the globe. So today, as I've mentioned before, we'll talk about admission criteria, we'll talk about the program structure, we'll talk about some of the career opportunities that could come up once you graduate with this MBA degree from LUMS. And of course, since these programs are being done for you, so it is your opportunity. अगर आपको कोई confusions हैं with regard to this program, अगर आप जानना चाहते हैं कि आपका career किस तरह से जो है वो हो सकता है after this program, कितना rigorous ये program है, and anything that you want to talk to us about with regards to this program, we have the right set of people here sitting with us to manage your queries. So I'm once again greatly honored to have be able to share this platform with Dr. Tanveer Shehzad, Mr. Ali Mansoor, and Ms. Faaria Salahuddin. Dr. Tanveer Shehzad is an associate professor at Sulaiman Dawood School of Business, and he is also the program director for the MBA program at SDSB. Ms. Faaria Salahuddin is an MBA alumna of SDSB, and she has a remarkable experience in the banking sector, and now she's working at SDSB as director for placements. And Mr. Ali Mansoor is a current student of ours enrolled in the MBA program at LUMS. So thank you so much, Dr. Tanveer, Faaria, and Ali for joining us today.
Thank you, Omar. Thank you.
Dr. Tanveer, thank you. You know the drill. We are going to start with the introduction of the program. Kindly, please introduce karwaiega MBA program हमारी audience को.
I hope this question is directed towards me. Our MBA program, it is of 2 years, full-time 2 years. In the first year, we have core components, mainly core components. In the second year, we have some elective parts, and there is an MCP, which is an obligatory part of the program. In the first year, primarily, we have divided it into 2 parts. They start in fall semester and spring semester. In both spring semester and fall semester, almost 5 core courses, those are expected. We teach and we discuss in the areas of economics, finance, marketing, operations, accounting. We also discuss business strategy. These are the core areas. In the second part, this is more geared towards the interest of students. So they choose electives. Normally electives are of half semester, so they have a lot of choice to specialize in whatever area they may like. And they also do a management consultancy project, which is the core part. Other than that, we also have a strong element of experiential learning. We will talk about that later.
बिल्कुल सही. डॉक्टर तनवीर, एक क्वेश्चन अक्सर आता है कि क्या हमारे MBA में स्पेशलाइजेशंस अवेलेबल हैं स्टूडेंट्स को, or is it just a general program?
Our degree is MBA, so there is not going to be anything else on the degree. However, when you are choosing your electives and when you are choosing your MCP, for instance, in that case, you have some scope to work in the area where you want to specialize in, or probably where you want to go. However, the degree is going to be a general degree.
Okay, so within the program, you can, tinker it, manage it according to your own preferences, whatever is available. But जब आपको degree मिलेगी तो उस पे जो है वो overall program name ही लिखा होगा. specialization बिल्कुल say. Faaria, I'm going to come to you. You were with us in 96, and now you have joined us again as you've been working as the director for placements. So अगर मैं आपसे पूछना चाहूँ थोड़ा सा कि the day you joined the MBA program and when you graduated, what were some of the most significant differences in your own personality that you witnessed, or in other words, what was the most significant advantage of pursuing this LUMS MBA?
Amar, so yes, 96, that's a long time ago. So I'm very conveniently going to skip some of the parts. But to be very honest, I think when you're that young and you come to an institution like LUMS, it's very overwhelming. It takes it takes your breath away temporarily because you've come to this institution, which was literally like a dream, and now you're going to be a part of it. So while you're very excited, but you're also very intimidated, and then you're very overwhelmed, but then you're also very fearful because you've heard of all the difficult hurdles that you have to cross, the grading systems, the different program structures, the teachers, and you keep wondering whether you'll actually end up graduating from here or not. So walking into LUMS is I think is a relatively easy part. Walking out of LUMS with a degree is where your real aptitude comes in. And I just have to say, I think if I had to do it all over again, I'd do it exactly the way it happened. I think it's brilliant. The kind of value that the institution, the degree, the teachers, the peers, the class fellows from different backgrounds give to you as an individual, I think you can't quantify it. It's absolutely priceless. If you start talking about the monetary terms of, अगर इस institute ने नहीं देना तो किसने देना है, that's not fair. That's not fair because there are far more expensive institutes across the world which can give you that. But I think the fact that you leave LUMS and you never leave it is the most important bit. LUMS is and becomes part and parcel of your existence for years to come, whether you're in your personal life, whether you're in your academic life, whether you're in your professional world, or whether you come back like I have. And the only reason I've come back after doing 21 years in banking, corporate and retail, is because I decided that LUMS also teaches you to have the ability to, do something different even when you're at a spiral high in your career. So it gives you that confidence to be able to walk away and pursue something that might intrigue you or is more passionate for you after even a 21-year career. And that's why I came back to LUMS, because I thought that it would be wonderful to try and now look at the younger generations that have come since 96. They have a very different perspective of where the world stands. And that misconception where the world revolves around us because we are LUMS has changed. The world doesn't revolve around us. We need to make sure that we're able to do that, revolution around the world. So the industry has changed, the market has changed, the dynamics have changed, the recruiters have changed, the expectations have changed. What has not changed is the expectation of excellence, whether it comes from you as a student, as a teacher, as an institution, or as a market recruiter. The level of excellence, that is the one merger that remains united through all of this. That's the link. The strongest link is of excellence amongst all of these variables.
I think this is what distinguishes us as well. You've rightly pointed it out, and I'm sure it must be true for many of our current students and recent alumni as well. The day they joined and when they graduated, there must have been a very significant change in their own personality, and I think it all comes down to the same point. It is this need to make sure that you are doing a job that is the best and nothing short of best. So yeah, and exactly, the market has changed, the way recruiters are behaving, the way the whole industry dynamics have changed. It's something that we also need to keep abreast with. And exactly, LUMS MBA trains you for that, for all of that. So thank you, Faaria. And there are a couple of other questions with regards to recruitment and student selection and much more. So I'm going to come back to you again as well. Ali, abhi aapke paas aata hu. Ali, could you please, talk to our audience about your own background, and also what was your main intention behind joining LUMS MBA program?
Okay, thank you so much, Amar, for inviting me for this wonderful occasion. So what happens is that, during my background is basically that I'm a business graduate. I did my BBA honors from UT Lahore back in 2015. And after that, I pursued a qualification in finance, which is known as CFA. So after that, I was on job in a company. It was a conglomerate which had around 24, 25 companies, and I was an investment analyst who had a job to basically analyze the company's performance and come up with the new projects and if they are good enough or not. But during my time at the company, I realized that there are certain management skills which I believe were lagging. I had the specialized knowledge of finance, yes, but I was lagging behind in terms of management and leadership skills. So for that, I had this conversation with my GM, who was my boss at the time, and I asked him that whether or not it's a good idea to pursue MBA. So the first question was that whether or not I need an MBA. So he rightly pointed out to me that yes, definitely MBA is something which you should be going for, because if you want to be at a position in life where you want to be a leader, so if you want to reach a CEO position or C-level position, that requires leadership. That cannot just come with specialization. So you need to have certain managemental skills, leadership skills, which will definitely play a long part, a huge part in your grooming. So for that, the choices were very limited in terms of MBA. So either you go abroad, and if you have good money, or if you have scholarships, so either you can do that. But staying in Pakistan was a priority for me because my parents are now old, and I thought that it would be much better for me to take an MBA degree from Pakistan. So in Pakistan, LUMS, applying to LUMS is a no-brainer, obviously, because any other universities other than LUMS. Yes, there are other good universities. No disrespect to any university. I'm sure everyone has a good program, but then definitely LUMS has been considered as number one MBA program of Pakistan for quite long some time now. And trust me, as
That's
Ms.
true.
Faaria rightly pointed out, that when you come into LUMS, that's the easy part. But getting a degree from LUMS MBA, graduating, that's the hard part. So that's another. And then it
Comparatively,
was
it
a
must
double.
be an easy thing to do, but I think getting into LUMS is also quite difficult.
It is definitely, and then it is a AACSP accredited program. So in Pakistan right now, I don't think so there is any other MBA program that has been accredited by AACSP, accreditation. So I
That's
think
true.
the laurels were right there. The writing was there, and then obviously I applied. And as you rightly pointed out, that getting into the program was also because as I could remember that I was told that 7 or 8,000 people applied into the program. And then out of the 7 or 8,000 people, only 100 or 120 people, odd people were lucky enough to get into the program. So I think that in itself shows, that the amount of, the acceptance rate, it's pretty low, and it's only based on quality of the student, definitely. So once, you have that certain experience in place, you have to have that certain experience, that, maturity in your thought process. And obviously you can think analytical and problem solving skills are one part, but the other part of the program is there's the resilience, the stamina, because the program will definitely test you on these lines. Anybody can, take up a book and study, but passing the more important part of the program was more important. So this whole rigorous routine that you have to go through, that's the most important part in my view, and that is why LUMS MBA is.
Exactly, and for that you need to make sure you're working with us, you are giving us your complete attention throughout the 2 years time at LUMS. And as you again mentioned that LUMS, and as I always tell whenever I do a webcast for Salman Daud School of Business, that again, SDSB is Pakistan's only business school that is AACSB accredited, and that is an accolade that actually clubs us with the top 5% of the world's most remarkable business schools. At the same time, jahan tak MBA ki baat hai, we have been ranked by QS, and our MBA is amongst top 250 worldwide and 34 in Asia. And जैसे Ali अभी आपने कहा भी कि पाकिस्तान के अंदर हमारे LUMS के MBA की reputation is very, very well established, mashallah से. एक और चीज, एक और फिगर जो मुझे बताते हैं हमेशा बहुत खुशी होती है, मैं बड़े शौक से बताता भी हूँ, वो ये कि when we talk about graduate employability index, again we have a ranking for that from QS, and that is we have been top ranked by QS in terms of graduate employability. 96% of the graduates who graduate, they get hired within the first 3 to 6 months after the completion of their program. And so, it's quite easy for LUMS graduates to, get hired at one of these top, or at all of these top organizations once they're done with their programs at LUMS. So, Dr. Tanveer, again, I'm going to come to you. Could we talk about the admission criteria that we have, put forth for the MBA program specifically?
Thank you, Ammar. In our MBA admissions, a number of faculty members are involved. So there are 2 or 3 parts of the recruitment or admissions. In the first part, we go through the applications in detail. We are not using any robotics or AI. Our faculty members sit, they discuss what you have written in your application. We see the work experience that you have. We also look at the academic qualification as well as the grades. We also go through your personal statements and stuff like this. So there is a detailed discussion, and after that discussion, we decide that which students we are going to call for interviews. In the second part, we call applicants to the interviews, and in interview, we have normally 2 to 3 faculty members, and they ask critical questions. Most of them have already gone through your personal profile and stuff, but they will be asking many questions from you. So a typical interview lasts from 20 to 30 minutes. And after the interview, we are going, in the third stage, we are going to again have a discussion whether this program is suitable for the applicant or not. If we find that, then we issue a admission letter, and you will be welcome when you will arrive at LUMS for your MBA program.
Because Dr. Tanveer, I've always had this question, and this is what I've come to realize as well. I've had meetings with probably all the faculty members at LUMS who are engaged in the selection of students with regards to our graduate programs. And this is what I've come to understand, that probably interview is the most significant part when it comes to deciding that which student gets to join LUMS and which doesn't. So what are we really looking for in a candidate who is interviewing with us for the MBA program?
Ammar, in interview, there's certain expectations from applicants. First of all, we try to gauge how quickly they can make decisions. Secondly, how quickly they can analyze situation. We understand the knowledge of certain disciplines that would be lacking at the start of the program. However, how quickly a student can cope up with this deficiency. Another thing is ethical behavior. That is absolutely important. Because that person, when he is going to graduate from SDSB and from our program, that person is going to handle a lot of money, and they will be handling a lot of people as well. They should be aware of the expectations from the modern workplace, where diversity plays a very significant role, where ethical behavior is absolutely important, and where honesty and these things are very, very strongly looked for in an applicant. Another thing is the hard work. The student should not be taking things easy. From the very first program is going to be hard, and they will have to devote a lot of time. This is a 24-hour job. So
Dr. Tanveer, आपके स्टूडेंट्स पे जो है ना, वो जरा मुस्कुराहट आ गई एकदम से, मुझे लगता है शायद उन्हें अपना टाइम याद आ गया.
नहीं, उनका टाइम अभी चल रहा है. Okay, so I was saying hard work is absolutely important. So we expect that the applicant is ready for the hard work. So these are 2 or 3 main expectations: honesty, hard work, their commitment for diversity, social uplift. These are the main things.
Exactly, bilkul sahi. So again, it's about your analytical skills. It's about your ability to make decisions quickly. आप कितने hardworking हैं, और मतलब we are going to look at many other factors, including the three that I have mentioned. Also, Faaria, आपके पास मैं आता हूँ. Ali, आपके पास भी आऊँगा. I'm going to talk about your own experiences with regards to, you know, interviewing with panelists. But before that, Faaria, you've been associated with SDSB placements for a while now. How receptive is the market to hiring LUMS MBA graduates? आपके experiences में आपने क्या चीजें notice की हैं? मतलब is it easy for MBA graduates, LUMS MBA graduates get hired, या difficult होता है, या जो recruiters हैं उनकी अपनी जो inclination है वो कितनी होती है LUMS MBA की तरफ?
Okay, Amar. Now, I'm just going to put a disclaimer before I get into this discussion, and Dr. Tanveer knows the background to it. The disclaimer is that while I'm going to give a very candid feedback on this question, that does not mean that it is meant to deter individuals from, you know, joining institutions for MBA degrees, joining LUMS for an MBA degree, or it isn't intended to dishearten students. It is intended to actually make them realize what is the expectation when they come to LUMS and when they graduate from LUMS with a degree vis-a-vis the market. Okay, so just two things. When you graduate from LUMS, you think that the world is standing there and waiting to embrace you with open arms. The world is there. There is a world of opportunity, industries. We've got, and the fact that our MBA, and I'll just share some basic statistics with you. Our last class that graduated 2021 key, within 6 months, the entire MBA class had jobs. So this is how, you know, well received we are by the market. If you look at the statistics, we had a number of interesting statistics to go by in terms of where things stood, what happened. And when I say they had jobs, these were not just ordinary jobs. These people ended up with local and international jobs. They ended up with good salaries. So the absorption capability of the industry is definitely there. What we need to do is, and as a recruiter for 21 years sitting in the banking industry, the biggest challenge that I faced, I saw my colleagues facing, whether they were with HR, whether they were specifically, I was with the corporate sector, corporate banking, retail banking, was the stability of the students, the commitment of the students to a medium to long-term career with the organization. You see, LUMS, unfortunately, in between became synonymous with easy to switch individuals. They would not have a commitment beyond a year. So honestly, when I graduated and my first switchover, so I was the class of 96, I started my career with ANZ Grindlays. I had no intentions of doing banking, but you know, it was just a number of coincidences that led to that. I stayed with the ANZ. I did not switch until it decided to sell off its MISA operations to Standard Chartered, and Standard Chartered became the new employer. Again, I continued with them. My first switchover to a bank, or my first job from 96 was in 2002. And that is when I decided to make a switch. And a number of people said, are you sure you're from LUMS? Because, what's wrong? And it's not like I was sitting at one position. I was, I mean, the hard work pays off, the degree pays off, the consistency pays off. And I was very fortunate that I was able to start as a relationship manager on the retail side, elevating myself to corporate, then being given chances. And then ultimately, I became the regional corporate head at UBL for Punjab. And, my first switchover was to Habib, and that was primarily for a very valid reason, which was I wanted to really understand and learn corporate banking with a local bank, which had the appetite, the per party exposure appetite to actually do project financing and get a real feel of corporate banking. So that's why I did the switch over. Then I stayed with them, and then I moved to UBL. But what I'm trying to say here is that when we would be sitting and interviewing youngsters from LUMS, our biggest challenge would be that there was a general feel in the team that these people are not going to stick around. So no matter how much we commit to them in terms of a position or a salary, these people will only be with us for a year or 2 years, and then they'll leave. And the market doesn't believe really in signing bonds and doing employment engagement. And I think that we need to change. I've had several discussions with faculty members, with program directors, with MC members, with people who've actually founded LUMS, and everybody wants this institution to be a center of excellence in all regards. So the instability of our graduates from the MBA program causes a lot of damage, not only to them, but also to successive graduates, and to people who actually are committed to careers. And if you look up our alumni statistics, our alumni are in excess of 14,000 placed across the globe, across sectors ranging from banking to construction to consultancy, energy, telecom, internationally, locally, very well paid. Some of them are at the helm. My own class fellows, they're doing brilliantly well, heading their organizations. And it's been a result of consistency. So one of the biggest challenges that I'm going to say to our students is, please, when you graduate with an MBA degree, you have a responsibility to show stability, because the recruiter has very little faith in this particular aspect of us. So while they absorb us, but mentally वो इस चीज से बहुत fearful रहते हैं.
Bilkul ठीक. Thank you, Faaria, for such a detailed answer to the question, and also talking about how the dynamics of the industry are in terms of our students staying at a certain place. At the same time, you also mentioned that our students are very well received in the market, and as you mentioned, the class of 21, all of them are employed at good organizations, good jobs. And of course, nobody can or should move away from the responsibility that they have towards the organization that they're working for and the organization that they're representing in terms of their alma mater. Ali, I'm going to come to you again. I would request कि अगर आप थोड़ा सा जरा interview को aspect को जरा discuss करें जो Dr. Tanveer ने जिसके बारे में बात की थी. How was your experience, and also about your exchange program? But before I let you do that, there are a couple of questions that I have got on social media. First of all, Avais पूछ रहे थे अभी कि when are we going to do the program for Executive MBA? Avais, inshallah, we have a separate webcast for Executive MBA that is scheduled for 28th January. Inshallah, we'll talk about the Executive MBA program then. And then there was a question about, is there any, the question is from Hassan. He says, is there any possibility to submit the application without a Gmat score? And if it can be submitted before the conditional offer is made by LUMS? So Hassan, thank you for bringing this up. First of all, if you want to apply to the MBA program, you could either go for Gmat or you could opt for GRE. If you don't want to go for either of the two, then you could go for NTS GAT as well. But at the same time, applicants are required to take the test by the deadline that has been mentioned, and you can find all of these dates on our website as well. And inshallah, I'm going to let you know the dates as well by towards the end of the program. There is no exemption in test conditional offer इसके बगैर नहीं की जाएगी. So now Ali, please बताइएगा हमें अपने इंटरव्यू एक्सपीरियंस के बारे में भी और अपने एक्सचेंज प्रोग्राम के एक्सपीरियंस के बारे में.
Yeah, sure. So what happened was that, in your interview, like Dr. Tanveer mentioned that, there is a panel of the faculty members that are taking your interview. and they're assessing different parts of your personality at different points in time. So it's not just about mathematical reasoning or analytical skills. They'll be more interested in knowing about your personality as well. Maybe they'll put in a situation in front of you and they want you to comment on it, and through that they'll try to ascertain what are your values as a human being, and what are your morals as a human being. And then obviously your CV and your resume will be there in front of them, and they will be asking you questions. So this is important because of the fact that most of the people, what they do is that when they create their resumes, they sometimes try to window dress a lot of things, which they do not have clarity about. And faculty is very particular about that, and they know when they need to explore, dig deeper into those areas. So that's one thing. And the other thing is that this MBA is a case study method based program. So what happens is that there is no such thing that book padenge and you will just read questions and then you will rata maar liya and answers kar liya.
It's not just slides के slides पढ़ना वो याद करके आना उस पर test हो
No,
जाएगा.
not at all. Okay, there's a very good chance that you won't be getting any slides at all. The only thing that you'll be getting is lots of cases. And what you're going to do is that it's on your analytical ability and your logical reasoning that how you come up with the answer. There's no right or wrong answer, obviously. So one person can have a different view than the another person. That's the beauty of being a human being. But then I think that is what LUMS MBA teaches you, that you have to understand that ability of yours and where do you lie in between that, and how can you come up with the logical and logical reasoning to satisfy the answer or the problem, because these are the real life cases which have happened in real life settings. So just going through formulas of financial formulas or accounting formulas or whatever, that's not going to be sufficient. That's one. So that's the basic part. And second thing is that in interview you should, although you obviously you won't be coming up from a specialty of any kind of business, maybe you're an engineer and you don't have any exposure regarding the business subjects, but then again you should be abreast with the current affairs of the country and the current economic situation, which I think every person should be aware of. After last budget jo aaya tha, what's your GDP like, what's the interest rates like, and how it is impacting in the business environment of the country. So I think this is the minimum that can be expected from a future business graduate who wants to do an MBA. So at least that much of it is expected, and I think it's a pretty good environment. Yes, there will be questions that might throw you off, but that's the beauty of it. They want to test your personality and how spontaneous you are in coming up with the good decision making. So there are times when you'll have to make decisions and they are super quick. So your decision making ability is very important in this regard.
Exactly. Again, the idea is to give you a very rich flavor of how the industry is going to look like when you graduate and join the industry.
Exactly.
बिल्कुल सही.
And
Ali, also
coming to
जो आपका exchange program था,
yes,
उसके बारे में थोड़ा सा बताइएगा.
Yes, I'm coming to that part. So the beauty of this program again lies in multiple facets. So that is one. So what happened was that during when you enroll in your MBA, so obviously the first semester you have to go through a rigorous training or rigorous program subjects hote hain, and then those students who do really well, they come up the GPA wise, so they get to choose from the universities that are listed, and obviously there are limited slots, so not everybody can go. So you have to select which university you would like to go, which country would you like to go, and once you do that and you are able to reach that place in that university, that is an amazing experience altogether, because there are different reasons. In Pakistan, since you've been working only with Pakistani people, and obviously diversity का जो एक impact है वो उस तरह से नहीं आता. But when you are in a country like France or in a country like Turkey, they're not just Turkish people. There are students from all over the world. So when in my class, there were students from Spain, there were students from US, Canada, everywhere, and you get to interact with those people. You get to know how they think. So there were Indians and Chinese, and you get to know why these people are going on. So Indians, like you see that in different US companies they are getting all these good company jobs, Google jobs, YouTube jobs, and all these things. These multi-billion-dollar companies. So you get to know that how do they go about their work. What's their how what's the beauty about their mind? How do they think? What's their routine like? And when you talk to different people, obviously your exposure broadens, and then you're in a different country. So in a different country, you have to be more responsible. You learn a lot of things in the institution and outside the institution as well. So you get to know how people live in a country, and how they do their things. So you have to represent your country, your institution. Obviously, that goes without saying. And being a LUM student, as Dr. Tanveer rightly mentioned, Integrity is something that we do not compromise upon, and academic excellence is another thing that we do not compromise upon. And that is when LUM students go into these universities, alhamdulillah, I can say this, that, a professor there, he asked me that, which university are you from? And I told him that I'm from LUM. And he gave me an answer that is why, every question, you have an answer to that question, because you guys are so indulged in the classroom, in the discussion and class participation, that you guys are always on your toes with the answers. So that's something which, and this is something which brings proud to my institute, which brings, a lot of honor and pride to myself as well. So I think going on an exchange is a tremendous opportunity, which I think you won't get anywhere else, or maybe very few institutions will be offering, if they are offering, and that too in good institutions. So EM Lyon, the university in which I went into, was at that time was at number 4 in terms of business schools in France. So in France, there is HEC Paris, there is INSEAD, and then there was another third one, and then M Lyon, it was at number 4. So you can see that, you're studying in a top ranked university, and you're getting that exposure, you're building connections, and you're having a good time, 4 months of time with different people, in a different environment, in a different setting, and there is no such thing as you go home and you get a book and all these things. So you have to balance your work, your study with all these things. So I think it's an amazing opportunity that gives you a great exposure as an individual, and would definitely help you out in your jobs as well. So in future, if you want to work abroad, you have connections, you have studied a semester from there, who knows, you might apply in France and you get a job. So
exactly, and as we always say, going for an exchange program can change you in numerous ways. As आपने बताया कि exposure होता है, and then it's not just the indigenous population of that country. Then there are international audiences coming over there and engaging in a program. That's a new dimension to it. I didn't really think about it before you pointed it out. We have as far as LUMS is concerned, we have exchange partnership with some of the best universities in the world. And the best thing about this exchange understanding is that, you will just have to manage your own accommodation and your airfare. But as far as the tuition fee is concerned, you will be paying LUMS whatever you're paying. And by virtue of our arrangement with that particular university, you'll be joining their program for a semester, maybe 2 semesters, and then you don't have to pay their fee. And what the credits you will be completing over there will be counted towards the completion of your program at LUMS. So yeah, that's it. Tanveer Sahab, again, I'm going to come to you. One of the most significant aspects of our MBA is that we try to make sure that students, are facilitated in some way to finance their program. So what are some of those ways to finance the MBA program? And once we address this, I would also request that you please talk about the case study methodology that we have in place for the MBA, and how is that putting us out or giving us a unique edge in Pakistan.
Okay, thank you, Ammar. We have a number of scholarship programs, and in addition to that, there are some financing capabilities as well. So talking about scholarship, some of the top ranked students, they get a merit scholarship where 50% of their tuition fee will be waived based on the admission process. I think 2 to 3 students in every batch, they get the merit scholarship. We also have another scholarship, which is for those students who are getting more than 700 score in GRE or Gmat. Basically 700 in Gmat or equivalent of GRE, and admission office can help you with getting that. Again, you will be getting some scholarship for that. All female applicants, and they are wonderful they are doing wonderful in our MBA program. They get 50% off, and this is just to increase the participation of female applicants in our program. They have a lot of potential, and this potential remains untapped, despite we have been independent since last 70 years. So to encourage female applicants, we are giving 50% off to all applicants who get admission to the MBA program. We have another scholarship which is covering not only the tuition fee, some other elements of the program as well. That is going to be the Asian Development Bank funding. Then there are some financing. So one is interest-free loan, which can be offered to some of our applicants. And then there is another loan, which is our arrangement with MCB, where students can enter into an agreement with the MCB and our finance department, where they can get funding for their for the payment of their tuition fee. So there, and I think there, other than that, there can be some other opportunities as well from time to time. So look at the website. There is a lot of detail for all these arrangements, and we can of course talk about these in detail as well. As for case method methodology, that's absolutely the core of our MBA program. So our students, they get a weekly schedule, they get the detail which case we are going to discuss, and of course the question where we will be focusing. Before the class, they normally discuss cases in 30-minute session with other group fellows, and the idea is that they should be prepared for class discussion. Once they are prepared with the, once they are prepared in small groups, then they come to the class, and in class normally this is the discussion on a real life situation. They have all the facts, they have the figures, they have also the, some tools with them, and the instructor and the moderator, we can call it moderator, call him or her moderator as well. They basically try to take advantage of the existing knowledge of our students they have gained in their professional lives, as well as while reading the case, how they were approaching the problem. Once they have analyzed a number of cases, they become proficient in analyzing such situation. When they start their jobs or when they start their entrepreneurship venture, they will be, of course, facing similar sort of problems. So they will know the tools, they will be knowing the facts and figures, which numbers to look into, and they will be able to come up with the right solution. This is the idea. Case-based, I just want to focus on one more element, that is the experiential learning. That has become a very significant part of our MBA program. And from the day one, and I remember in Ali's batch and even the batch after that, in the very first week, these guys, they were standing in different markets and they were interviewing different people to know how they were conducting businesses. And we start from the very basics, so they will be talking to top CEO level people in their first week, but they will also be talking to the base level of our production chain. And what are the problems? In the first semester, we do the first part of the EL1, Experiential Learning 1. And in this part, they go to different industries and they try to understand the challenges there. And for this year, we had almost 8 sectors and top CEOs of different companies. They came here. They talk to students about the challenges they face and what sort of solutions can be useful for them. In the second part, they work in EL2, they work on the entrepreneurship element. And they need to develop an entrepreneurial mindset. And in the third part, they work for a specific company with a practical challenge. So experiential case-based method has been the hallmark of our MBAs for a very long time. Experiential learning is also becoming a very important part of our MBA.
Cool. Thank you so much, Dr. Tanveer. Or just having बताया, there are multiple ways to finance the program. Also, you talked about the case study methodology as well, how it's benefiting our students and the students then eventually who are joining the industry, how it benefits once they have a broader horizon with which they can solve the industry problems. At the same time, मैं थोड़ा सा दोबारा से guide कर दूं अपने हमारे applicants को who are considering to applying to LUMS. We activated the applications on 5th November 2021. The deadline to take your Gmat, GRE, NTS CAT General would be 27 March 2022. And by the way, it may sound like that, but you only have to go for only one exam. So select, go for Gmat or go for GRE or take the NTS CAT route. It's entirely up to you. But please make sure that we have your results and you have taken these exams latest by 27 March 2022. Then you will have to submit your online application by 29th March 2022, 5 p.m. And the deadline to submit your online supporting documents is April 1st, 2022. So please also be aware of the fact that we are now receiving all your supporting documents online. You do not have to hand deliver anything. You do not have to post anything to us. Everything has to be sent to us through the application portal. There are multiple ways to finance the program. Dr. Tanveer has already spoken about some of those, and a lot of related information is available on our website. Please do access www.lums.edu.pk and browse the pages for MBA, and you'll get all our related information over there. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you so much, Dr. Tanveer, Ms. Faaria, and Ali, for being with us, taking time out of your busy schedules. And
before we sign off, I'd just like Dr. Tanveer to talk about one element that we've missed out, which is very, very significant for us, is the National Outreach Program. That is a very significant part of, an opportunity for financing the program. People, young students from across the country can qualify based on merit for this program, whether you're from Balochistan, from Sindh, from Punjab, from KPK, from Gilgit-Baltistan. There is no limitation. There is no upper band on how many students are accepted. It is all merit-based, but this gives ability to students who may not have the financial capability, but are remarkably intelligent and have the aptitude to come to a university like LUMS and compete with peers and class fellows. And I take a lot of pride in this program because we didn't have it back in '96, but over the years, I've also been involved in certain ways with the NOP programs. And I feel that this is a message that needs to go out for the MBA program across the country, that there is always that opportunity. You do not have to be financially, capable to come to LUMS. All you need to be is on merit. You need to be in the upper ranks. So there are no favors. The only favors that LUMS actually offers is if you meet the merit, if you meet the scores, if you meet the bare minimum requirements, the financial support is immense that comes through from this. So Dr. Tanveer, if there's anything I've missed out, I think we need to really highlight this aspect for all our young students across different universities across the country, particularly Balochistan, Sindh, and other areas.
You are absolutely right. We encourage diversity as much as possible. So if an applicant is coming from Balochistan, KPK, or from Sindh, we of course always welcome them. Financial resources are not going to be a problem. Whether it is NOP or whether it is a loan from MCB or interest-free loan, we will find some way to fund that as long as you are ready to embrace the challenge. If you can do that, then we will of course have, I think NOP is for undergrad programs mainly, but we have MCB,
exactly.
we have interest-free loan with us. We have, of course, merit scholarship, we have ADB program. So there are so many programs for MBA program that financial resources are not going to be a constraint for you.
Exactly. बिल्कुल जैसे हम हमेशा
You should be ready to take the challenge.
बिल्कुल जैसे हम अपने हर प्रोग्राम के अंदर कहते भी हैं कि अगर if you have a very clear idea of where you want to be, and if you know that how LUMS can help you get there, we are going to make sure that financial limitations are no limitations at all. So we are here to finance you, and it is again, once again, I feel very, very honored to trot it out to you that since inception, we have disbursed approximately 7.8 billion rupees as financial assistance to help our students, enroll in all the different streams at LUMS, whether it's the undergrad or the grad level or the doctoral level programs. When we talk about the NOP program, and thank you so much, Faaria, that you mentioned it out right now. NOP programs primarily pertains to the undergraduate applications, and yes, the undergraduate applications are also active right now, and we're going to stay active till 2nd February. So if you haven't already created your account, please make sure you are creating your account right now. So through one webcast, I get the opportunity to market our undergrad program as well. So yes, and that's pretty much it. Thank you once again, Dr. Tanveer, Faaria, Ali, for being with us, and tomorrow, inshallah, we're going to see you again for our program on financial management. And then, inshallah, day after, we'll meet for PhD management. And again, we'll wrap this week up with our webcast for executive MBA. So please make sure you are creating your account right now. and submitting your application as soon as possible. And inshallah, we're going to see you tomorrow as well. Take care. Allah Hafiz.
Thank you, Ella.